Hello there. This week I remembered sometimes I was flying from Mombasa to Nairobi. It's a journey that will take you only about an hour or less to fly there. Of course, when you're driving, it can take you the whole day, literally. But what caught my attention was the pilot announced and said, if you look to your left, you will see Mount Kilimanjaro. And those of you who know Mount Kilimanjaro is probably the highest in Africa. And it is quite high. There are people who travel from all over the world to come and climb Mount Kilimanjaro. And so I turned to the left and I looked at the Mount Kilimanjaro. Well, I was looking up thinking, it must be huge and looking so big that probably I'll be looking up even when I'm inside the plane to see it up there. You know, overshadowing everything, maybe touching the clouds and all that. But to my amusement is that when I looked, it looked so small. I was actually supposed to be looking down to see the mountain. And I wondered and I began to think, well, is this the same mountain that everybody talks about? And people have come from all over the world to come and climb Mount Kilimanjaro. And a few things crossed my mind, and one of the things is that your view changes by your height. It is where you are that determines how you see things. So because we were up there, and before we left Mombasa, the pilot said we were going to be flying 25,000 feet above sea level. So I didn't check to see how high Mount Kilimanjaro is above sea level, but you know what? It is not as high as we were up there. So walking on the ground or driving, then the mountain will be so big, so huge, you cannot even see around it, and it will take you days and days and days to climb up. So if you want to change your view, then you need to climb up. The other thing is that the higher you rise, the less the obstacles. Well, because we were up there in the air and flying from Mombasa, it took us only about 50 minutes to get to Nairobi. And before you get a glass of water, then they announced you're going to be landing soon, because there were less obstacles. If you're driving from Mombasa to Nairobi, it may take you 8, even 10 hours. Why? Because there are so many obstacles. There are trucks, there are bumps, there are potholes, there are diversions and detours. You have to wait maybe for the train someplace to cross, or there'll be so many obstacles, traffic jams, people crossing. Sometimes there are animals even crossing the road. There are cows and other animals. So there are so many obstacles because of where you are. But up there are not many obstacles. Maybe there's some wind, some clouds and all that, but the plane is made to handle all that. The other thing is that you deal with the issues better from a point of advantage. Well, when you're up there, you have all the advantages. So if you want to change your view, the way you see things, if there are things that have been depressing you and destroying your vision and your dream, addictions and all that, don't try to change those things, because they will always be there. They will always come against you. Well, what you need to do, it is rise above them. How much are you dealing with the issues? Are you growing deeper? Are you praying more? Are you reading more? Are you studying more? Rise above those circumstances. Instead of worrying about the challenges, because they will always be there, rise above them, grow even more and more in your knowledge and understanding. Think bigger than your problems, and you pray more, worship more, rise up, get deeper in the spirit. If there are spiritual matters that you need to handle. So what I'm saying is that rise above. And when you're up there, well, I'm sure you've heard how people say the higher you rise or the higher you get, the cooler it gets. The air there is fresh, it is cool. There are not many obstacles. The plane will even rise above the crowds, the rain clouds that you see. Instead of worrying about your problem and what you're going through, and by the way, don't be deceived. Everybody in the world will be going through some challenge, some difficulties. It is either this or the other. So instead of worrying and spending all your energy worrying, well, rise above that challenge, grow more, read more, study more, get deeper in the spirit, pray more, worship more. In other words, what I'm saying, rise above that problem, rise above that challenge. Instead of always focusing and looking at the problem and thinking, what do? I feel helpless in this situation, this addiction, rejection, divorce, whatever it is I've gone through in the family, financial mountains. Well, rise above them, do something different, and it will get even smaller and smaller, and before you realize it will diminish and it will be forever gone. So think about that this week and rise above all your circumstances, and from up there it is cooler, it is nice, it is better, because the higher you go, the cooler it gets. So rise above the crowns, rise above the mountains, and it shall be well. Thank you and have a good one. God bless you.